It is my privilege to officially welcome all of our graduates and their families to this evening's Baccalaureate service on our 41st annual commencement weekend. Welcome. Tomorrow, we will be honoring the largest graduating class in Liberty University's history. 17,840 degrees will be conferred tomorrow. We are proud of you, and we are looking forward to celebrating this great accomplishment throughout this special weekend. You are entering a challenging job market and a culture that is often hostile to your Christian values. But we believe you are ready to become the salt of the earth and the light of the world. We believe in you because we know your faith has taken deep roots here, and we are confident that you will leave Liberty not only knowing how to make a living, but also how to live. We look forward to hearing about all of your career successes and the example that you will become in your service to others. Liberty students have always had the reputation of being service-oriented. One of the first things Becky and I noticed when I became president in 2007 was how Liberty students radiated the love of Christ to everyone they encountered. They lived out the great commandment to love God and love others on a daily basis. We would constantly hear the same thing from our students' landlords, employers, and visitors to campus. In recent years, Liberty has encountered growth on an unprecedented scale. God has blessed Liberty in ways that nobody ever dreamed possible, allowing the university to literally rebuild a campus. We are replacing all the temporary buildings that were erected in the 1970s with state-of-the-art academic and athletic facilities. And we are adding hundreds of new programs of study, including a cinematic arts center, a medical school. And some were concerned that these blessings and prosperity would cause complacency and would result in our students losing some of their fervor for serving Christ and for serving others. I'm proud to report tonight that, if anything, Liberty students are even more committed to the Christian ideals that have defined them for decades. I spoke with hundreds of graduates at the senior picnic last weekend, and it was evident to me that they remain committed to a life of loving God with all their hearts and loving their neighbors as themselves. Tonight's occasion, the Baccalaureate service, is a Christian tradition that is as old as the university tradition in America itself. In fact, it's even older than America. The early founders of America's universities left behind many of the traditions of European higher education, yet they kept this one tradition intact and treated it with a great solemnity. The Baccalaureate service is believed to have begun in the early 15th century at Oxford University and involved every male graduate delivering a sermon in Latin. I think we are all very thankful tonight that this tradition is no longer being practiced. But the Baccalaureate service eventually came to be treated more like an official worship service where the university community gathered prior to commencement to give God the glory for their great achievement. Yet, as the American Academy became increasingly secularized, baccalaureate services were de-emphasized, and today, if they exist at all at most universities, they are considered unofficial services, often endorsed only by a student club, sometimes not even allowed to meet on campus, and almost never endorsed by the university itself. The sad fact is that God has been steadily uninvited to commencement at most universities in America. Not here. At Liberty University, God is our guest of honor. The American education system, founded in so many respects upon our faith, is the envy of the entire world. America's founders would not believe, nor would they accept, the alienation of the faith from the academy. Quite to the contrary, they wrote Christianity into the founding creeds of America's first universities. They carved Bible verses in the stone facades of buildings and erected monuments to pastors and missionaries. You might say that at Liberty University, we actually believe in the mission statements that made America's first and most famous universities what they once were. Actually, and ironically, 6 of America's Ivy League universities have kept their religious mottos. This includes Brown University, whose motto is "In God We Hope." Princeton's official motto remains "Under God's power, she flourishes." And Yale's is still "Light and Truth." The seal of Columbia University has Psalm 36:9 inscribed in Latin, which reads, "In thy light we shall see light." These days, higher education has itself, in many ways, become a spiritual wilderness, and Liberty, now the 5th largest university in America, is a voice so loud that it can be heard from one corner of that wilderness to the other. That voice declares that we believe in God. This university is His university. And as 2 Corinthians 3:17 reminds us, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.